Hello, I'm starting a vlog at 9 p.m. on a Thursday. I am feeling very much like I want to mood read something right now, and I don't know what to read. And I did make a TBR for May, which granted just had a lot of options on it. Like I was very clear that those were just kind of things I might be in the mood for, and I was not guaranteeing that I would read them, right? But I don't know. I'm just like, I got a lot of new books recently, and I kind of want to read like all of them right now, but that's not humanly possible. So until I grow a couple of extra pairs of eyeballs, I need to figure out what I want to read. Now, I will say I have about just under or just over, I think, 2 hours left of an arc of this book, which I'll put the cover here so you can see it better. Teddy Bears Never Die by Cho Yeon, I believe it's pronounced. And this is a translated Korean horror. And the translator is Sung Ryu. And I am really liking it. But this book's biggest downfall is that the chapters are like an hour to an hour and a half long. There's only like 7 chapters in the whole book, okay? I'm on chapter 6 and I'm liking it a lot. I think that there might have been like 1 or 2 sentences that definitely got lost in translation at one point. But other than that, I think the translation is actually really phenomenal. Like there were some like phrases in there that felt inherently like English. So I was really impressed with, the translator being able to take like whatever that concept was in Korean and give it this like Englishized, not Americanized, mind you, just like Western Englishized like feeling in the phrasing, obviously because they're translating it from Korean to English. But I'm really liking it. I'm almost done. I just am struggling to focus for long enough at a time to finish a chapter. The chapters are very long. Doesn't make it a bad book. The chapters in Night Bitch were also very long when I read that, and I loved that one as well. So I'm like really kind of feeling like I want to read a horror. I do have a horror on my arcs that I also kind of want to get to, and that is the Summer Fun Massacre by Craig DeLue, which I'll have a picture of over here as well. And I don't think it's very long either. I want to say it's like 260 or 270 pages. That might be wrong. I might have just lied to you. But I also just bought You Did Nothing Wrong by C.G. Drews, and I don't know how scary this is going to be. I believe this is their first adult horror. And I also have The Lamb by Lucy Rose, which, funny thing about this book, the cover refuses to be flat. And I don't know why. But when I bought it, it was flat. And then I woke up the next day and it was like this, as if someone had been reading it. So is my book haunted? Couldn't tell you. I don't think it was my child. He literally does not touch my books ever without permission. He's been trained properly through the years, okay? He's a good boy. I do kind of want to read this one because I think this is also short. Let me see. Yeah, 326 pages. And the font is also like quite large. So I feel like that could be fun. Again, these are 2 options plus the Craig DeLue I have on my Kobo. I think that's my only horror arc. Where's my phone? I think that's the only arc I have that's a horror. I also have Bat Eater though by Kylie Lee Baker on Kobo. So like that could be a good option. I have I'll Make a Spectacle of You by Beatrice Winifred Eaker, and I believe that takes place at a historically Black college. I believe that could be fun. This Vicious Hunger I think is horror but more leaning fantasy. I think it's vampires. A dark gothic fantasy, yeah. So I think that's just fantasy really, dark fantasy. I have The Book of Blood and Roses. I think this is also vampires, right? Vampire hunter goes undercover at a university. Is this the one at the... No, this is in the Scottish Highlands. Oh, okay. That could be fun. Okay. So, The Book of Blood and Roses is a good contender. I also have Hungerstone by Kat Dunn as an arc. I'm severely behind on my arcs, and that's entirely my own fault, but 2025 had a lot of things hindering my reading. And when I was reading, I didn't prioritize my arcs, and that's just my own fault, isn't it? What is Hungerstone about? Lesbian vampire. Oh, this is the Carmilla retelling. Okay, that could be fun. Oh, I do also have The Staircase in the Wood, but I've already I did start that. I got about 30% of the way into it. And I was reading that right before my dad died. And I don't know if I want to like delve back into that just yet. But it was really good. And they were talking shit about Trump, which is always a bonus. But yeah, that's what I have as far as horror goes on my arcs. So Staircase in the Woods. Oh, I also have Blood on Her Tongue. What's that one? Is this also gothic horror for the ages, combining shiver-inducing horror with sharp-fanged social commentary? Comparison to Dracula. In the Netherlands. Okay. Oh, Lucy's twin sister Sarah. Lucy. So like Lucy Westenra. So I have a Dracula retelling and a Carmilla I'm going to save those. I'm going to save those for a Dracula / Carmilla because I've already read the original Dracula and the original Carmilla. I've also read Read Dracula, which is the podcast audiobook narrator thing. And I've also read Lucy Undying. Do I have a copy of Lucy Undying? I don't think I do. I've also read Lucy Undying. Wait, no, I do. Where is it? Oh, Lucy. I lied. I don't think I have a copy of Lucy Undying, which is appalling. I need one. I love that book so much. Yeah, but needless to say, I think I'll save those for like classic vampire retelling vlog, perhaps. Okay, so the options that I have for horror are The Staircase in the Woods, The Book of Blood and Roses, I'll Make a Spectacle of You, and I also have The Summer Fun Massacre. And this book, The Valley of Vengeful Ghosts, I believe is a haunted house story, and that is by Kim Fu, which might be a good shout because May, for those of you who don't know, is AAPI Heritage Month. The Teddy Bears Never Die is also by an API author. So I could also read more Witch Hat Atelier. I could do it. But I also have The Troop by Nick Cutter as a horror. I could read this. I could read Nestlings by Nat Cassidy. I could read Someone You Can Build a Nest In, but this is more fantasy, I think, with horror elements. I have Where Sleeping Girls Lie, which I don't think is a horror. Is this horror? I think this is more of a mystery thriller, so I don't really want to read that at the moment. I also have The 10th Girl. Ooh, this is like a haunted house that takes place in South America, I believe. It said Argentina? Buenos Aires, Argentina, I believe. Interesting. Gothic psychological thriller with a haunting twist. So is this a psychological thriller or is it a horror? I don't know. I could read this. And then like if I'm not enjoying it, I honestly would be cool to just DNF and unhaul it because I've had this one for quite a while, to be honest with you. Oh, speaking of horror that I could unhaul, I also have House of Hollow, which is on my self-destruct list for this year. So maybe I should at least try this one because if I don't like it, again, I'm totally cool just unhauling it. Yeah, so I think I'll do that. I think I'm going to try this one, at least read a chapter or two, see how I feel about it. The 10th Girl, is this just going to become a chapter vlog where I try to figure out what I'm in the mood for? I don't know. It's 9 p.m. on a Thursday. I have to be up early tomorrow and get my kid off to school. My husband is on another work trip. He left this morning. But what I could do is try a chapter maybe of my physical books tonight and pick a physical book. And then tomorrow I can try a chapter of some of the ebooks I have because I have those ones that I mentioned from NetGalley, but I do also have Bat Eater from Kylie Lee Baker as well, which again, it's API Heritage Month. So like that could be a good one to choose. Oh, The Fox and the Devil by Kirsten White is described as horror. I also have that on NetGalley. Ooh, I have Black Flame as well by Gretchen Felker Martin. That's quite short. I have The Buffalo Hunter. I have Ring Shout as well. The Ballad of Black Tom. Listen to Your Sister. Hunger Zone. Whites for Witching. Is that long? 256 pages. Ooh, I have What Moves the Dead as well. That could be good. Blood on Her Tongue. Knock Knock Open Wide. That one is a little bit longer. The Staircase in the Woods. That one is a little bit longer. The Hunger by Alma Katsu. That's 500 pages. God damn. Ooh, I have Mayfly. Okay. I have Ushers by Joe Hill, which is literally 29 pages. Maybe I'll read that first tomorrow and just read the whole thing. What do you think? We could get one ebook off my TBR real quick. I have Bloom by Delilah S. Dawson. I have A Botanical Daughter, Mexican Gothic. I have Jaws. I'll read that during Shark Week. When is Shark Week? I don't know. I have The Willows as well by Algernon Blackwood. I have Frankenstein. I have so many more horrors on my ebook TBR than I thought that I did. So this is exciting. Oh, I'm sorry. I moved because my foot was asleep. Forgot to move you with me. Okay. So, I want like a fast-paced book though. But I think I kind of want to read shorter works at the moment. I do also need to finish Teddy Bears Never Die. I'm like so close to the end. But okay, so how long is this one? I said 326, right? That's not bad. How about this one? This is only 292 pages, and I know from experience that I personally read C.G. Drew's books very quickly. Both Hazelthorne and Don't Let the Forest In went by so fast for me, so I feel like I'm going to try this one as well. We're going to put it over there in my try pile. The Troop is not short. I know that this is over 400 pages, but I don't know how far over. Oh, wait, actually, it's just under. Oh, wait. Why did this feel bigger than that? It's 355 pages. Okay, maybe I'll just try this. We'll try that because I'm very intrigued by that. I'm also still intrigued by this, but I just have so many options. I know that Nestlings isn't that long, but I also think that this one's gonna fuck me up, and I should probably read this when my husband is home, just in case, because I'm really scared. Yeah, Nat Cassidy scares me. 283. This is also very short. A quick heads up about the content of this book. You're gonna find marriage troubles, parental trauma, child endangerment, talk images of infanticide, postpartum depression, suicidal ideation, bodily harm, ableism, anti-Semitism, claustrophobia, gaslighting, and a whole lot of bug stuff. There's also a character who's a racist, sexist piece of shit. Fuck it. We're gonna try this one too. Okay. Do I try this one? Maybe I can read this one and Where Sleeping Girls Lie in the same vlog, because I think these are both girls living at a boarding school situation. I think this is someone living at a boarding school as a teacher, and Where Sleeping Girls Lie is living at a boarding school as a student, and they're both kind of like haunted school situations. Okay. That's a great idea. Future me, don't let me down. And this one I absolutely do want to read, but yeah, I don't know. I could put it on my try pile, but that's a lot of reading I'm gonna have to do right now. How long are these chapters? Okay, well, chapter 1 is 3 pages, and chapter 2 is 6 pages, so I would probably just have to read the first 2 chapters. Okay, for my physical selection, I'm gonna read the chapters of these 5 books, and then I will come back in after each book and give you a rating. If the chapter is very, very short, I will read the first 2 chapters depending on length. I'm aiming to read around maybe 10 to 15 pages of each one, just to see the tone and writing style, to see if any of these are catching my fancy at the moment. So I will update you in a moment. Okay, I have read 10 pages of The Troop by Nick Cutter. This started out so different than I thought it was going to be. Obviously, I had read the synopsis on the back, so I knew it was about this guy who takes these boys on a camping trip, like Boy Scouts basically, right? But the first chapter, first of all, there was a newspaper clipping article that was kind of cool that started the book off. And actually it was an online article, I believe. And that was interesting. It had reports of something happening. I won't say much because I don't know what is or isn't a spoiler really. Then the first chapter was definitely really different than I thought it would be. And I did read a little bit of the second chapter. And I'm definitely intrigued. I want to give this a 6.5 out of 10. I am gonna read Nestlings next, and then I'll come back with my rating for that one. He wasn't kidding when he said there was a whole lot of bug stuff. I'm only on page 10. I'm already disgusted, Nat Cassidy. This was so good. I didn't even want to stop reading. The way that he starts a story literally makes me feel like I'm on the edge of my seat every single time. He did it with When the Wolf Comes Home. He did it with Mary, and he's done it again with Nestlings. There's just such a nuance to the already creepy, weird shit going on that like there's no explanation for it, and you literally can't put a finger on what it is. But literally 10 pages in, I'm already unnerved, I'm already disgusted, and I already hate someone. Like, what the fuck? Also, the main character is in a wheelchair. The wife, I believe her name is Anna, and her husband's name is Reed. Those are like the main couple here. And they have a daughter named Charlie, and she's a little baby. And they won a lottery for this apartment. And that's like all I'm going to say. So they're moving into this apartment. Well, they're not moving in currently in the first scene. They're like, they're touring the apartment to see if they want to like accept the like prize or whatever, right? By the end of the first 10 pages, I already hated a side character. I already felt unnerved, anxious, and disgusted. This has to have like a 9. I have to give this a 9 in intrigue. That was so gross. It was so gross, Nat Cassidy. Blech. I'm traumatized from 10 pages in. I can tell that this is gonna fuck me up though. Like I can tell, like obviously I read the content warning. The baby. I'm only 10 pages in, so I don't know if this is a spoiler or not, but I just feel it in my gut. This baby is gonna die. I mean, it did say infanticide, which is the killing of a baby, right? It's gonna be their babe. I already want to cry. I already feel so bad for this lady. She got this injury during childbirth and she's in a wheelchair, and I can just already tell their life is gonna suck. Their lives are gonna suck at this apartment. My intrigue is so high. So I'm going to give this one a 9. I don't know if any of these will beat it, the remaining 3, but so far this is the winning contender. This one also though, like I really am intrigued to read this one as well. And I do think that I'm going to read a lot of horror this summer. And I think it's because the horrors of my real life are just getting too out of hand. And so I want to read about other people suffering. So I don't feel so alone. I am going to read, I don't know which one to pick next. I have House of Hollow, You Did Nothing Wrong, and The Lamb. I think The Lamb is going to be gross, and I'm like disgusted from what I just read in that one. And also, I think I don't know if the house is haunted or if maybe it's just the people within this apartment building that are fucked up, but haunted house-ish vibes. So I'm going to go to another haunted house-ish vibe, I think, and try You Did Nothing Wrong. So I will be back with my rating. So I read one chapter of You Did Nothing Wrong. Why am I already crying? Also, I decided I needed to annotate it. This feels already like it's going to be so relatable. The main character's name is Elodie, and she has a small son named Jude. And her son is on the spectrum. She's trying to put him to bed in this first chapter after they both had a long day, and he's being very cranky towards her, which is like literally exactly what I dealt with today. It was just a long day for my son at school, I guess, because he came home in a foul mood. But he does have untreated ADHD. He has a partial diagnosis from his PCP, but she couldn't get the referral to go through for a specialist because my son's teacher at school filled out the school assessment wrong, so they wouldn't refer him to a specialist. But his PCP says that she thinks he has ADHD. But anyways, he apparently in this book, her son, he's just turned 6 a couple months ago. They just moved into this house a couple months ago. My son is almost 7, but we moved into this house and then he turned 6 shortly after that. And he already reminds me of my son. And this book is gonna fuck me up, I think. But also on Elodie's end, like, she's having a lot of these, completely normal fears as a parent about if she's doing the right thing for her son and like making decisions for him and stuff. I think that she was a teen mom and she's now remarried and they live with her new husband. They just moved to Virginia, which is where I just moved from, but they are currently living in this like old Victorian house in Virginia that they just moved into, and they're renovating it. And at the end of the chapter, her son is like, obviously fighting going to sleep, but he says something about how he can hear the walls breathing. And literally right when I was putting my son to bed, I told him to go pee one last time before bed, and he threw a big fuss about going pee by himself, even though like literally here's his bedroom door, the bathroom door is like right there. I was like, just leave both of the doors open in your room, like you can, like you're 6 years old, you can go pee by yourself, you know, like trying to encourage him to like be independent. And he came back from going pee like pissed at me because he didn't want to look in the mirror. Something about the mirror scares him in his bathroom. He's not like that with any other mirror in our house, and it freaks me out. So like this book, these two books are gonna fuck me up. The parental, like this one postpartum, I had very bad postpartum depression. I have regular depression. I want to preface by saying that. But I did also have really bad postpartum depression. Like I probably should have been seeing someone for at least the first year after my son was born because it was rough. It was really bad for me. But this is more relatable to like my life now. And even by the end of this first chapter, I'm already creeped out. I don't even want to be in my house right now. My microphone is not on. I just filmed the first part of this clip with no microphone on. I'm not going to refilm it, but I have the microphone on now. I'll do my best to make sure that audio sounds good, as good as I can make it. But this is obviously more relatable to my life now. I gotta give, what did I give this one? A 9? I feel like I have to also give this one a 9. But then how do I choose? What if one of the other two is a 10? Like I might not even have to choose between these two. But like, what if one of these two is a 10, you know? But like either one, maybe I could just read them both. If neither of these two books ends up being a 10, I might just have to read these both. They're both not that long. Yeah, this is just under 300 and this is even like 20 pages shorter than that. So both of them together would be like reading one 500, almost 600 page book. I could do that. I feel like I could speed through either of these right now. Like I didn't want to put this one down. I didn't want to put this one down. This one I literally started annotating it. Like let me read you this section I underlined. Elodie presses her mouth to the top of his head, breathing in soap and shampoo and little boy. Already these golden, precious seconds feel like they're sliding away too fast. He will get up. He will leave her. She wants to fold him in half and crush him so deep into her chest that his heartbeat will thud against her own. And I relate to that because my son is not really like a cuddler as much as I would love to cuddle him. And so sometimes I'll ask him like, hey, can I get a really big hug? And usually he's pretty good about giving me a hug if I ask for one. Like he'll come give me a nice big squeeze and then lay on me for a second. But he always lets go. He always lets go first, you know? Fuck you, CG Drews. Why? Fuck. Can't stop crying. Okay. Literally, my tears will not stop dripping out of my eye. I did not expect... I didn't expect this to make me, like, cry and feel super relatable to it. Oh, Jesus Christ. I will say that in the first chapter here, we get a small flashback. Elodie is reminiscing about how she went to a mother's group when she first had her son and that she felt like an outsider because she was a teen mom. But then she heard them talking about how, like, you know, every kid will get angry if you cut their sandwich into triangles instead of squares. So she was like, okay, great. Like, it's normal the way that my son's behaving. But then shortly after that, she had a doctor who suggested that she take her son to get an assessment for autism. And the doctor pissed her off by basically saying it's a good thing your son's not ugly because they'll take your concerns more seriously because he has a darling face. And she got pissed off at the doctor for saying that, which like is fair because like what kind of doctor says that shit? So she ripped up the assessment referral. And I don't know if she ever took him to a doctor because it kind of just jumps back to the present day, which I believe that's like a 3-year. It's not really like a time jump. It's like her reminiscing and then like coming back to the present. And so I don't know if she ever had him like officially diagnosed or if he gets diagnosed like in the early stages of this story, because he does start talking about like hearing the house breathing and stuff like that. So I don't know if like the assessment is going to come, like we're going to witness that, or if it's something that like he already got assessed for, but just not with that one doctor, obviously. But I also want to point out that CG Drews is an autistic author. They have talked about it on their Instagram a couple of times. They're very open about it, and they always post for Autism Awareness Month, like book recs and own voices, book recs and stuff like that for Autism Awareness Month. So I just want to point that out because I'm sure that there are people on the spectrum, Own Voices readers, who would be worried hearing me say that she didn't take the assessment from the doctor seriously and like ripped it up and threw it out because the doctor pissed her off. But the author, I believe in the acknowledgements, or maybe it's at the beginning. Is there an author's note at the beginning? Yeah. In the acknowledgements that if you were once the autistic child, you did nothing wrong. So I think that experience probably is more closely related to Jude's side of this story versus the mother Elodie. And the mother Elodie in here even says, like, I'm trying my best, you know? Sometimes people's best isn't always good enough. And I think that that's a very hard pill to swallow, but it is very realistic. And that is the real lived experience of many people. Like, there are things that I should have been diagnosed with as a child that could have made my life easier growing up, you know, and I just didn't get that care. And I fight for my son regularly with his doctor, trying to get him like just extra care that he needs. I fought for him for speech therapy because I had so many people telling me like it's normal for them to have a little speech delay at this age, blah, 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 blah. And I finally like fought hard enough with one doctor that she like sent him out for an assessment, and they were like, actually, no, this isn't normal. He kept getting ear infection after ear infection after ear infection at one point, which we tracked down to being like allergy related, but it also turned out that he needed to get ear tubes in his ears because he was suffering a mild hearing loss from having so many ear infections. Like, as a parent, you're just doing your best, you know? And sometimes your best is good enough. It doesn't have to be perfect. Like, your best doesn't have to be like the most perfect thing in the world, but sometimes your best is good enough, and sometimes your best isn't good enough. And so I think that this is what that story is maybe going to toy with, just based on the tone of this first chapter. And as a parent, like, I struggle every day to do my best for my son. And there are days where I know that I'm not doing my best. Like, I know that I'm not. Like, there are some days where I'm very short-tempered with him, or there are some days where I am like just mentally exhausted and I don't put in as much effort to like playing with him as I should, you know? Like, that's literally just life. So I feel like this is gonna fuck me up. I feel like this is gonna fuck me up. These were both so good already, just in the first chapter. Fucking 10:30 at night now on a Thursday, and I'm crying in my room because of a horror novel. Literally, who would have thought that this horror book would start making me cry? This one had me not crying, but like I could definitely feel my eyes prickling a smidge. Just on behalf of her, because I'm so empathetic. Like, I'm empathetic to a fault. I cry at everything. Movies, sobbing. Books, sobbing. Like, I just feel for other people so deeply. So this one was already tugging on me. This one obviously made me literally sob. This is not how I saw. I was like, oh, I'm really in a fun like horror mood. Like, I really want to read some gross, creepy things. And mind you, this was gross already. This was gross already. And then this made me sob and also was creepy already. You win some, you lose some. Now, I don't know which one I want to read next. I feel like The Lamb won't make me cry, so that might be a good bet. House of Hollow, I don't even know what the fuck this is about because there's lots of flowers on the cover. But I've had so many people tell me that there's nothing flowery about this type of horror, and the synopsis makes no sense. So I'm going to read The Lamb next, and then I'll read this one. I don't know. I'll be back for another update soon. I'm going to give my intrigue for this right now like a 7. It was disgusting. It was really gross. This starts out with the young girl. She's 4 in the first chapter, and then in the second chapter, I believe she's 11. I read the first 2. I read like 13 pages, right? And lots of people have already been eaten. She's just chatting about the strays that they've taken in and how mama loves to make them feel warm and fuzzy before she eats them because it makes them taste better. It's disgusting. It's definitely easy to fly through. Like, that was really quick for me to read those first 13 pages. The words are also, again, very large. The font is huge. I do think I'll read this one soon. Definitely good summer horror. But not today. It's not winning the triad chapter, unfortunately. Okay, so the last chapter I have to read is House of Hollow by Crystal Sutherland. It's already 11 p.m. So I'm going to read this as quick as I can. And then I'll come back and give you another update. Hey, so it's been like 35 minutes. I literally can't get through. I read like the little prologue pages. Yeah, it was like 4 pages of prologue. And then I started reading chapter 1 and I just literally don't care. So this will be coming off the TBR and being unhauled immediately. It's about these 3 sisters who apparently went missing when they were young, and all 3 of them came back. The older 2, I guess, like, are different, acting different when they get back, and then like weird things start happening around them. Like, they're just so weird, but they're also so beautiful. Like, they're weird and beautiful. They're called the Hollow Sisters, and their names are so quirky and cute, and like they each have 4-letter names, and they're just so like easy to remember. I don't give a fuck. I literally don't care. So that's good because this is on my self-destruct list for the year, so that will be off the list. I'm not even gonna give it a rating for the entry because I just don't give a fuck. So question of the night is, it's literally past midnight, so I need to make this clip short and go to bed. Which one of these do I start tomorrow? I don't know. Do I want to cry right now? I think like I was already crying in chapter 1. I really liked them both. Do I just start them both? I could do both of these books and just not pick an ebook, perhaps. I do also still have to finish Teddy Bears Never Die, which is a horror. So I could finish that and then read these 2. My husband is gone till Monday. Today's Thursday, so I really would like to finish Teddy Bears tomorrow and then get at least halfway into one of these books. I have been doom scrolling so much again this week, and I just need to stop it. Like, I could literally have so many books read and so many like productive things done with my life if I could just stop doom scrolling. It's really bad. It's worse when my husband's gone because I'm just like zoning out, you know? I'm also just tired all the time, and I probably should have been in bed an hour and a half ago, but I was trying to read this stuff quick, and then I was trying to finish the House of Hollow read, and I doom scrolled because it was boring and I got distracted. I'm gonna take these both with me, like out there. Like, I'll take them to my room, I guess, and I will decide in the morning because it's late and I'm pooped. Mm-hmm. Do you want to say something to the people? Come here. Speak. Good boy. Good morning. Apparently, I only have 10% battery on my microphone remaining, so we're going to do a quick little morning update. So last night I went to bed shortly after that clip. I did pull Witch Hat Atelier 5 off of my shelf. I think I want to read this one either today or tomorrow. But I did also bring Nestlings and You Did Nothing Wrong with me. Last night when I was trying to fall asleep, I could not stop thinking about both of them. But mostly You Did Nothing Wrong because that one kind of like, obviously she was putting her son to bed and he was talking about the house making weird noises and stuff. And in particular, the main character even said that sometimes the house plays tricks on her, and when she's home alone, she'll hear footsteps upstairs. And like that happens to me all the time here. Like, I am constantly telling my husband to check the attic for raccoons because I'm convinced there's something up there because I keep hearing feet. So that was, I was up till like 1 a.m. and I had to wake up at 6 today to get my son off to school. So I'm pooped. I am in my pajamas again. As soon as me and Waffle got home from the bus stop, I immediately put my pajamas on. I can't remember what I said I was going to read last night from NetGalley. So today I think I'm going to try a chapter of the Summer Fun Massacre because that's also I'm intrigued by it. I don't think I want to do the Staircase in the Woods. Like I said, I already like read some of that. I can't remember if this Vicious Hunger was a Dracula or Carmilla retelling. So I'll look into that. I also think I'll make a spectacle of you, and possibly, I think that's it. Maybe the Book of Blood and Roses. So I think I'm going to try those 3. The Book of Blood and Roses, I'll make a spectacle of you, and the Summer Fun Massacre. Actually, I think I'm also going to try the Valley of Vengeful Ghosts as well. So I have 4 horror arcs that I'm going to try the chapter of, and then I'll pick one of those to read. I know that I was only supposed to pick one physical book, but both of these were literally so good. I could not decide. Yeah, and then I do also really want to read Witch Hat Atelier some more. I'm trying not to speed through the last 3 volumes that I have because I don't want to have to buy more of them just yet, but I also still really want to read it. So I'm probably going to read this one and then I'll wait on the other 2. But it's quite early in the morning. I think it's like 9 on the dot ish. Oh my gosh, 9:05. I was so close. I have a video coming out at 9:30, so I need to like post about that and stuff. But I think while I wait for that to like publish, I will start doing the chapters, and then I can decide where to go from there. And then I also have my laptop with me. I think I'm gonna read one of the chapters and then I might have to spend a little bit of time updating my Notion and also like checking my to-do list and making my to-do list for the day, because usually like early in the morning before 9:30, 10 a.m. I do make a to-do list for the day just to kind of get my ducks in a row and see what I need to do for the day. I'm not going to do much today. I got quite a bit done yesterday in the morning. So realistically, all I need to do today is order some groceries. I have plantar fasciitis and I'm having a really, really bad pain day in my right foot. So I'm not really trying to do much. I did walk to the bus stop with Riley and took Waffle on like a little short walk after and stuff. And then it's very cool and nice out right now. So I actually just came inside. We got back around 7:40 and we were outside for like an hour. Yeah, we were outside for like an hour after, just enjoying the weather because it was really nice out. Waffle was rolling in the grass and sniffing all the flowers and stuff. We have some like random like yellow, I don't know what they are. They're not the buttercups, but there's something else. Random yellow flowers growing in our yard. He was just walking around sniffing and pissing. And now he's in his little perch area. He's ready for a little nappy poo, I think. So he's gonna sit next to me while I read. Why are you eating your foot? Stop it. You need a bath too. You're a stinky boy. All right, without further ado, I'm gonna plug this into charge and start reading. I'll come back after I read the first one, which I think I'm gonna do the Summer Fun Massacre, and then I'll give you a rating for that one. Okay, I have read the first 2 chapters of the Summer Fun Massacre, and I gotta say, it really just drops you right into the shit. I feel like sometimes with horror or slasher and I hate saying slasher/horror. Too many slashes. Slasher and horror books, I feel like sometimes you get a lot of buildup. I feel like sometimes with slashers you get too much exposition at the beginning where it's like everyone's personal backstory. But no, we really just got dropped right into a bunch of people already dead. There's only a single survivor, and it's this police officer named Tom and this survivor named Laura in a cabin already being stalked by the thing that's killing people. And literally by the end of chapter 2, like, we're in the shit, And both chapters were super short. The book itself, I believe, is super short because it says I'm already 7% in and there's only 6 hours left. So a nice short summary horror or slasher, I guess, maybe, I don't know. I do have some intrigue for this one. I'm definitely curious to see what happens. Is it as interesting as You Did Nothing Wrong and Nestlings? No, not yet anyways. Again, I'm just basing the intrigue/interest off of the first like 1 or 2 chapters. So like I could end up liking this one more than I liked those ones once I've read all of them. But so far in the beginning, this is definitely not as interesting as those. But as far as ebooks go, I'm going to give this one, I'll say 7.5. Okay, 7.5 feels right because I am pretty interested, but not over the top interested like I was with those 2 last night. Also, I'm sure I have the world's biggest eye bags right now, and my hair is probably really frizzy because I honestly just woke up and fixed my ponytail and called it a day. I'm also wearing the same sweatshirt I had on yesterday. And we're just going to deal with it. So let's pick another ebook. I also, in my first clip today, I didn't mention any non-ARC ebooks. And I think I do also want to try Bat Eater and Other Names for Cora Zhang, I believe that's called, by Kylie Lee Baker. Let's try I'll Make a Spectacle of You next, by Beatrice Winifred Eker. Very spooky cover. There's a face in the roots. That was a truck going by and it echoed inside my fireplace and it scared the shit out of me. Yeah, but there's a face in the roots. There's kind of a glare, but I don't know if you can see that. There's like a skull in the roots. And then it's underneath this school. This is the one that takes place at the historically Black college, I believe. So I will be back to tell you my intro. Okay, actually, it's been like 2 seconds. I haven't started the book yet. I was just flipping through the beginning pages where it's like, this book is a work of fiction, blah blah, right? So I'm flipping through and I see at the top here by Craig DeLue. With the book I just sampled is from Craig DeLue. So I flipped back to see what it was talking about Craig DeLue for, and it says excerpt from How to Make a Horror Movie and Survive, copyright 2024 by Craig DeLue. So this book talks about Craig DeLue. And the book I was just reading is Craig DeLue. That's so funny. That's literally so funny to me. Also, I've been saying Craig DeLue, and I'm pretty sure it's Craig DeLuey. DeLue. Craig DeLue. Is it French? Or is it DeLuey? That sounds weird now because I've been saying it the other way for like a week. But yeah, I just thought that was crazy because I just read those 2 chapters from Craig DeLuey. And then I scroll into this book trying to get to the first chapter, and it says excerpt from Craig DeLuey. That was so random. I could not have done that on purpose if I tried. Okay, I read 1.5 chapters of I'll Make a Spectacle of You by Beatrice Winifred Eaker. The only reason I didn't finish the second chapter is because it was very long, so I didn't want to read more pages of this than the other and give it an unfair advantage. But I will say this is super, you're so high up. There we go. This is super interesting so far. We start off in like a little bit of a prologue situation where we have the main character Zora and her sister Jasmine are in the woods. And they're kind of like not getting along. She's talking about how they were drifting apart as sisters. And then they're like walking home in the woods or something. And then they hear voices. And then Jasmine tells Zora to run because Zora is the younger sister. So she runs through the woods back to their grandparents' house. And I guess like she could hear her sister scream at one point. And then it like jumps forward in time. And it's like they don't talk anymore. They went separate ways in their lives and like they just don't get along and they don't talk anymore. And Zora is currently like at this point in time, she just got accepted to, I forget the name of the college now. She got accepted to Brixbury, which is the nation's first historically Black college, I believe. Also, I didn't know, but this takes place in Tennessee, which I'm in Tennessee now, so that's kind of interesting. And there is some mention of conjuring and witchcraft. And so I'm wondering like which direction this will go in. Like, is it a witchy book or is it just like more of a like quintessential horror? I don't actually know. I would give my interest for this like a 7. It was just under the other one, honestly. It was really, I liked the writing style as well. It flowed really nicely from sentence to sentence. There was also some imagery in the first one about like the fort because they were in the woods, and so there was some nice imagery about that. It did give like a smidge of a info dump, but not really. It was just kind of like a small flashback of like them spending, once they kind of like stopped, there was just kind of this small flashback after that thing in the woods where she like ran and her sister screamed about something, about them spending time with their grandparents like separately. Like her sister Jasmine would hang out with her grandmother in the summer and then she would hang out with her grandfather, and they never really had like overlap after that. And that's kind of like why they drifted apart. There was some historical info dump about the college itself, which is fine. It was like a paragraph worth, so not a big deal. And now we also kind of are getting like an info dump about the character. So like I think they're just kind of info dumping a little bit at the beginning, so hopefully the plot can pick up really quickly because again, it is horror, I think. And then I'm seeing that there's like some witchy stuff happening, which is interesting. And also the main character Zora, I believe, is a lesbian and her family is like very religious. So I think that she's kind of just like the black sheep of the family. And she's like totally okay with that, it seems. And she just doesn't care what they think at all, which like good for her, honestly, because if your family doesn't support you, then like fuck them, right? But I am definitely interested in this one. But I think so far the Craig DeLuey one. I think so far the Craig DeLuey one is just a smidge ahead. What did I give that one? A 7.5. I'm gonna give this one a 7. I think the next one I'm gonna read is, I believe last night I said Hungerstone and Blood on Her Tongue were both like Carmilla and Dracula, right? So I think I'll try Blood and Roses. Is that? I gotta look on NetGalley now. I literally can't remember. NetGalley. I'm also starving. I have not ordered groceries yet. It's lunchtime. I've been really slacking today. I've been doom scrolling, and I blame myself entirely for losing track of time last night and staying up too late. And now I'm just exhausted. Although I was also outside with Waffle quite a bit earlier, but he's chewing on this like beef stick now. So he's probably fine for at least like another hour. Okay, I just reread the synopsis for Blood and Roses, and that I think is more just leaning like fantasy vampire. So I'm gonna read The Valley of Vengeful Ghosts next, and then after that I will read I think after that I will read Bat Eater. So 2 left. So I've just been recording a clip and it wasn't recording. I finished 1.5 chapters of The Valley of Vengeful Ghosts, and this is about a woman whose mother just died, and she's in the process of buying a house with the down payment from the insurance money that her mother strategically left for her because her mother was sick, and she planned out ahead of time like all of these fallbacks and safeties for her daughter to be able to purchase a house after she passes away. And so she goes to see this new construction house where the imagery around this neighborhood, because it's all just flat land, like dead grass, they deforested this big area, and there's a lot of imagery about that valley being like dead and like looking dead and stuff, with the juxtaposition of the 2 houses that have been built, because the houses are complete and then the grass and the like yards have been fully landscaped within these 2 houses. So it's just these 2 random plots of green within like this big dead like brown and gray valley. And so obviously it's being called the Valley of Vengeful Ghosts. So I feel like maybe we're going to find out that like this land had some kind of like burial site on it or some kind of cultural significance, and then maybe there's like this haunting that occurs because of that. In the prologue, she is basically talking about how I will move into this house, I will make friends with my neighbor, and then we'll make friends with the 3rd neighbor who moves in, and we'll make friends with the 4th neighbor who moves in, and eventually we'll be a really tight community and everyone will get along and everyone will hang out together and blah 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 blah. But then in time I'm gonna realize I wish I never lived here. And so obviously like something happens in this house, in this neighborhood, and I am really intrigued by it. But also, like, this is kind of a haunted house. I'm assuming it's going to be a haunted house story, and Nestlings is a haunted house story, and You Did Nothing Wrong is a haunted house story. So, like, am I going to end up reading 3 haunted house books? I don't know. I think for my intrigue, I want to give this one a 7.5, although I do think I would put this a smidge over Summer Fun Massacre. So maybe I'll give this one an 8. But I also really liked I'll Make a Spectacle of You. I'm learning through this try a chapter experiment that I've had a lot of gems hiding on my Kobo and on my shelves. So I am going to take a quick break and eat some lunch. It is past lunchtime. It's already 1 o'clock. So I'm going to take a quick break and eat some lunch. And then I'm going to read a chapter of Bat Eater and Other Names for Corazang by Kylie Lee Baker. And this will be the last ebook that I try a chapter of. And I've heard amazing things about this one. So I fully expect this one to end up beating The Valley of Vengeful Ghosts. But as of this moment, it is between The Valley of Vengeful Ghosts and Bat Eater. So if Bat Eater's intro is like really engaging and really intriguing, that could be the winner. But if not, I think I am leaning towards The Valley of Vengeful Ghosts, which would then make this try a chapter tag me reading 3 different versions of haunted house stories, which is really funny. So I'm gonna go eat lunch and then I'll get back to you in a little bit after I've read Bat Eater. Okay, so I read 1 chapter of Bat Eater, and while the writing so far is nice, I don't feel like I want to read about COVID related things right now. And I definitely will like revisit this in the future for sure. But if you are someone who pays attention to what's going on in the world, even mildly, you will know that we're on edge, I think, globally, a little bit nervous about the hantavirus that was on that cruise ship. And they let those people off the cruise ship. So I'm already anxious about that. So I don't really want to exacerbate my anxiety by reading about COVID. But that is definitely a book I will like read another time. So if hantavirus just minds its business and stays the fuck away, then I'll come back to that soon. And I just kicked you as well. So I think what that means is for my ebook selection, I will be going with The Valley of the Vengeful Ghosts by Kim Fu. Now, today I did not finish Teddy Bears Never Die. I also did not order groceries today like I intended to. I have just had a little bit of a headache all day today. And so reading those, 4 or 5 chapters, honestly took me way longer than it should have. And then my dog very politely earlier asked to play Frisbee. And yes, he did ask me. He rang the potty bell and then went and got the Frisbee. So I couldn't say no because that was adorable. And then I went and got my son off the bus earlier, and we've just been hanging out ever since. He had dinner. I haven't really eaten dinner. I had like 2 leftover things, but they were like literally I just had snacks. I had snacks for dinner, so I'll probably end up eating something later. But now I've picked out the 3 things that I want to start reading next. Like, I need to finish Teddy Bears Never Die like immediately. I'm going to work on reading that tonight and try to get through it. So tomorrow I can start either Nestlings, You Did Nothing Wrong, or continue on with The Valley of Vengeful Ghosts. All 3 of these, mind you, are haunted house-esque. I am contemplating the idea of doing a part 2 to this video where I'm reading 3 haunted house horrors in one vlog. I think that's what I might do because this week coming up is my son's last week of school. He has 4 days of school and then he's off for the summer. So I don't know how much vlogging I'll be able to do. So I kind of want to vlog this week, at least for those 4 days. And I'm thinking that maybe part 2 to this challenge will be the next video you see. Thank you so much for watching. If you've made it this far into this very random and chaotic video, please leave either a ghost emoji or a house emoji down in the comments, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.